here you go. Go. Good? That's a big fish.
Full hand on tail, yeah.
Look how broad that thing is.
What if I was on the full medium?
Beautiful. Oh my, that's a big fish. Flip!
This would have been waiting for all day.
That's over 6. Oh. That's a good fish. Donkey. That's a heavy bottom.
Oh my God, please get the net. Please get the net.
I got you, buddy.
That was the weirdest one ever. There you go. What the? Oh yeah, he's got another 4.5.
Oh my God, this might be it. If I can land this fish. Holy sh! 5.06. She's thick. Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy! What a beast! Dude, that's it! 4 pounds smaller. I need a picture. Oh wow!
That might be a 4. That might be a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You're gonna show that off to 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Holy! Trailer just getting that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's it.
He's still swimming. What happened to Mick?
Yup. 5.3. Sorry for freaking out. My first fish of the year. There we go. That's a big fish. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes! 4.14 though. Gee. Not too shabby. At the stream, what's going on, everybody? Doing things
Hello.
Smidgen different tonight. That man right there is sick.
This one right here.
Was sick.
Pretty dying right now.
You know, when an angler is truly sick when they don't go fishing on the only day of the week they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't even awake. I wasn't awake at all.
When I called you, oh, you all right? Oh, I'm really sick. Yeah, you sound like it. You got a temperature of
Yeah, I don't even think I checked my temperature once, but Ashton's was, I think, 102.8. I think was the highest, and we were like we were just like, it sucked.
Once you get to that temp as an adult, that's where it starts to get to danger zone. I'll never forget that, because I thought it was the other way around. I thought kids could have a higher temp and adults could not, and it's polar opposite. Because last time I had a fever, I got pneumonia right after I hit 104.5, and I was like, oh, new record. Okay, I feel like I'm dying.
New record.
When I called the doctor 2 days later, the nurse was like, I went to the doctor because I had to get checked because something was wrong, and they checked me and found out I had pneumonia. And her eyes went wide. She's like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, yeah, 104.5. She's like, what? And then I learned that as an adult, that's really bad.
Really bad. I think like 105 and you did much. Pretty much. It just fries your insides.
That does.
Anyway, fishing.
Fishing
stuff tonight.
How's everybody doing tonight? Going through the chat, we got Ryan, TV18, Little Tommy, Dan, Dave, MD, Northeast Bass Fishing. I need to catch up over here. Brian, David, catching Mo Fish. Yeah, we can talk about swim baits a little bit tonight for you, buddy. Ryan, it sucks about your sale post on your boat. Hopefully you get that thing sold soon and later, by the way. Kevin, Mike, Alec, good evening, everyone. It's another good night for Real Northern Bass Talk. We got a lot to discuss and yet absolutely nothing to discuss because that's kind of the new format. Keep it loosey-goosey every week, although, yeah, it's a little bit more freeing. There's always still a primary topic for us to talk about, but like the video title itself is not centered around that. So I don't feel like the not necessarily pressure, but like, can I really make this like an hour plus conversation? Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Hence the new format. Plus, I think it works better anyway for the algorithm, the whole 9 yards, and it's just easier this way. So that's the plan. That's what we're doing. JP, South Jersey, how you boys doing? I got the vid feels like I got jumped. Ooh, that sucks, buddy.
Ooh, yeah, it sucks. I don't know if I have that or not, but I don't think it was.
No, probably not. So we can talk a little bit about weekend fishing report because I think with this influx of crazy rain we're getting, at least in the Northeast, it might end up playing out the same over the next few days. It's going to be interesting, though, because I think we have some much colder weather coming in tomorrow with the potential of snow. Saturday looks like it could be nice temperature-wise. Wind-wise, I have heard not so great things, so I don't know. Sunday, total wild card, but nonetheless, I think with this little bit, the insane amount of rain we just got, how warm it got too. It was freezing this morning, and it was like comfortable when I got out of work this afternoon. I'm thinking that whatever happened with me this past weekend will probably continue into this weekend. So we're going to cover that a little bit, and then plus side too, it's going to be talking about jerkbaits, so Andrew can really elaborate on that as well. Even though he didn't fish, he definitely has more to say than I would on something like this. Aside from that, one of the things I do want to ask for everybody that's here, first off, thank you very much as always. We appreciate you guys tuning in every week to watch us here at Northern Bass Talk. First and foremost, drop a like on the video. If you haven't done so yet, please, that helps more than you know. Leave a comment after it goes live. Anybody that shares it, as always, hugely appreciative of that effort. I know it's not always easy to do, but at the same time, it's kind of easy, but I know people are sometimes kind of get weird about it. But for those that do it, thank you, because that, more than anything, word of mouth helps all small businesses, probably better than anything else you could possibly do. So for those that are doing it, sharing on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're doing, thank you very much. We do appreciate that. And one of the things I also want to talk about is merch. Show it.
This stuff.
So I don't have any hoodies yet, but I would like to make that happen. When it comes to hoodies, though, this isn't cheap. And I am not made of money. So I think if we're going to do another round of these, I'm not going to do the colored one. Probably going to do the one that Andrew's wearing. Sit up a little straighter there, bud. There you go. All white. It's a black hoodie with an all white logo. I might explore different color hoodies because the difference in color in the hoodie doesn't matter. It's the number of colors you have in the logo that matters. But I'd like to be able to do these AFCO ones again with the Royal Northern Bass logo on it. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to need people to pre-order. So think about that. I'm going to put up a post. Try and gain some interest from people. Orders will not take place until I'm going to set a specific time frame. You have 7 days to get me money, and then I'll place the order and make it happen. We'll get pricing worked out ahead of time, the whole 9 yards. And it'll be good. That said, we still do have merch. I'm going to put the link in the chat in 1 second. So for anybody that's interested in buying t-shirts, basically I have gray shirts, a little bit lighter than this gray with the colored logo on it. I have quite a few of those left. I have a decent amount of hats left. Anybody that's interested, you can go to our store on Shopify. I'll put that link in a second there. And by all means, you guys hit it up. Plenty of decals in stock too. I've had tons of people ask about decals, but either people forget or they can't find their way to the store. It's all there. And we've been pretty good about shipping in a timely manner. So anybody that's interested, let me just, before I even do anything else, before I continue to talk about it, I'm going to slap that link in there right now. Control copy and apparel for sale here. Boom. Enter and pin. See? There we go.
Ryan Miller says.
What do you say?
He said pre-orders are no, MD said merch gets shipped out super quick. It's literally, when we get the list, we do it right after the stream, usually.
We tried, there was a couple orders that took me a few days longer than usual to get out. And just life. We do the best we can, but for the most part, we get things out very, very fast. And it ends up being that a lot of these orders end up coming in right after a stream anyway, so it works out. As soon as it's done, we just pull everything up. Andrew helps me pack and ship, get everything ready. My wife drops it all off because I prepay for the postage, the whole 9 yards, so it works out really well. Northeast Bass, and at least it's somewhat warm rain. Exactly. Dude, swiggity swooty.
Swiggity swooty.
Alec liked your personal message on his package, by the way.
I know, he messaged me. His wife was like, what the
See, that's the other thing you get to look forward to. When you order from us, Andrew might, drop a couple of fancy pictures for you.
They're all different sizes.
Hey, Josh. Oh, here we go. Before I get to the weekend fishing report, because this is a perfect question for my buddy Dave. One simple question. Haven't been out in about a month. Worth it or put the boat away? Worth it. Maybe. It's not easy right now, and I will tell you that.
For us, it's worth it.
It's always worth it.
We're not putting the boat away. I mean, we're going to fish all the way through, so.
Yeah, and I mean, the bigger, deeper bodies of water, I can't speak for the same for New Hampshire because I really haven't done much late year fishing up here. But at least in the places we go to in Vermont, where we go down to Cape Cod area, Candlewood, like it's always worth it. We always catch fish. May not always be stellar days, but it's absolutely still worth it. Case in point, I went out this past weekend, which, by the way, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Mine was amazing, short of a little hiccup cooking my turkey because my wireless thermometer, the meter, decided that it was not going to read correctly, or I put it in the wrong spot. So it came
technology.
out. It ended up coming out a little underdone. So I had to go back in for like another half an hour. It was a little touch and go. We got it like 95% perfect. Smidge dry. If I took it out even 5 minutes earlier, it would have been perfect. But I'm not going to complain because it was still delicious. But anyway, so Friday after Thanksgiving, I went out with my buddy Dennis. We went out local here in southern New Hampshire. For only about 3 hours, we caught 20 fish. Water was 40.5 degrees. Kettle Pond's about 100 acres on the high side. And this is a spot that Andrew and I have fished quite a few times. It's where I recently caught 2 6-pounders. And they were definitely different. When Andrew and I were there, it was like all jig. And in the first hour and a half, I had 1 fish to my buddy Dennis's 8. He was throwing nothing but jerkbait, and I was throwing nothing but jigs. And that 1 fish I had was on a jig. I'm like, okay, we're running out of time, running out of daylight. I'm going to pick up the jerkbait because it's very clear at this point they're not eating down, they're eating suspended. And I could see that on the graph. They're just going by often enough. So picked up a slightly different colored jerkbait than him and wasn't getting anything. Actually, he may have only had 5 or 6 at this point because I remember he did catch a few more, and he only had 11 total on the day. And he caught a couple more, and I'm like, well, what color do you have? And I'm looking at it, and what was unique about his is the belly had a little bit of orange at the throat and a little bit of chartreuse at the tail. And I thought that was making a big difference. So I changed up what I was throwing too close to that and immediately got bit. It was actually a jerkbait from Dennis. And then shortly after that, the light died down quite a bit. So then I went to, I forget what color it is, but it's a Megabass Vision 110. It's the one that you've been throwing, Andrew. It's that black back, gold sides, all orange belly.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always done really well with that kind of later in the day or in really low light conditions. And it was overcast. So I picked that up and immediately, I'm pretty sure he had 9 at that point. I went from 1 to, I think I did. I ended up tying him at 9 before he ended up catching 2 more. And then that was it. We ran out of daylight at that point and we called it a day. 40.5 degrees, 3 hours, 20 bass. And Dennis caught a 5-pounder. I caught one. That was probably like 2 1/4, a bunch of rats after that, but that's what this particular lake gives out. I went back out on Sunday, and first pond I went to has all the potential. I within the first hour I was like, this pond's done. It's dead. I'm very particular. I say we are very particular. How many times we talked about this, Andrew? Like when we're thinking local around here, it's like, okay, well, if we go here and it sucks, we can go over here 20 minutes and hit this place because that should be on. If that doesn't work, we go over here. It's 15 minutes away and that should be good. And
literally every time we fish local.
Every time, especially this time of the year, because there's some ponds that, while they're almost identical in overall structure, what they have for forage, water clarity, like the average depth, the whole 9 yards, it can vary wildly for what you're going to find for results, even when the lakes are within a half a degree of each other. Which is exactly the case I found on Sunday. First pond I went to was there for 2.5 hours. I didn't get a single bite. Water was 39.6 at peak. It's like 39.4 to 39.6. Very uniform. I lapped the whole pond. I didn't mark a single fish off the bottom. Every fish I marked was pinned. And the average depth here is, what did you say, 10 feet?
Probably 9-10 feet, yeah.
Yep. And it's almost identical to the pond I went to from there. I'm like, okay, well, I got a 20-minute drive to that lake. If I go now, I got about 4 hours before the rain hits. I'll go now. I'll get like 3 to 3.5 hours of like solid fishing before I get to pack it in before the downpours come. And that proved to be the right decision. I caught, what did I say I caught? 11 fish? 12. No, 12 fish in about 3.5 hours total of fishing. I did catch a 4-pounder on the jerkbait. It's one of my biggest largemouth I've caught on a jerkbait, and that was my 6th fish. And it was funny because like I had the right color right off the bat, just like a dark perch pattern. But dude, I had to play with that cadence hard because I didn't get anything for the first half an hour. And I'm like, I was like really locked in. That's all I have is a jerkbait in my hand. I'm like, okay. That whole time, I'm pretty sure I was going like 5 seconds on a pause. This time I'm going to go 10 seconds. And then that worked for like 3 fish. And then nothing for like 15 minutes. I'm like, You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the same thing. But before I go to do that jerky and after the 10 pause, and Dennis put me onto this, and I know you've said it too, Andrew. I'm just going to like almost like pull it, but like just kind of like a little pull and hitch just to make it twitch a little bit. And I caught 4 more doing that. And then it changed again. And I was like, okay, well, they really don't like, I'm not sure what they want. I had to slow down to like a 20-second pause. And then the twitches had to be like really, really subtle. And then I caught 3 in a row doing exactly that. So I felt really, really good about myself that I was able to kind of piece together what that cadence was. I've got a video for you guys on that. I recorded it while I was out there during that day. I'm going to make sure I get that out for you for Friday. But Andrew knows better than I how much cadence matters when you're talking about jerk baits this time of the year. We talked about this.
It's literally a cadence bait. Like that's how you work them. Is all cadence. And I mean, right now I mean, with warm rain coming in and everything, I mean, you could be cracking it like crazy. And I mean, because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I caught that 6-pounder.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. I mean, I don't know what the water temp was. It was in my John boat. Me and my friend Kristen were out there, and we had nothing all day long. Like, it's one of those days where it was just bluebird skies. You can see straight to the bottom, and the place is usually pretty clear, but not to the point where you can see the bottom almost anywhere. And I was like, this isn't right. We're throwing jigs and all this, all jigs and bottom contact stuff. So we decided to go up to one of the big flats because the sun was literally out all day long. It was still cold out, but the sun was beating down. So we go up to the flat, and we just sit right out in the middle, probably a couple hundred yards off the shore. And I'm just cracking the jerkbait almost as hard as I can, just doing this, just pausing for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, just to get the slack back up and just keep going like that. And caught a 6-pound largemouth. And I'm guessing the water was probably, I don't even know. It was cold. It was probably low 40s, 44, 43-ish. And I mean, I was working it really fast. I think that might be an outlier. But you really got to play with your cadence this time of year, because they could either be on wanting something fast, or they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to want something with a very long pause. I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. And the colder it gets, the longer you're going to want to wait. Like just before icing, you could be sitting waiting there for 30 seconds between every twitch.
For real?
It really does make a difference. If you're not getting bit on it, doesn't mean they're not going to bite it, because right now that bait should be getting bit, no matter how you're working it, but it should be getting bit, and it will get bit if you're working it right.
Yep, absolutely. And tacking onto that, Josh Herding, absolutely spot on too. Got to wait for that bite window. There's talk about feast or famine. That doesn't necessarily mean for the day. That's like the window during the day. And I would say the last 3 times we've been out, actually. The last weekend we went out, I caught those. Wait, last weekend, was that the 2 6s or was that the weekend before?
Pretty sure that was last weekend.
Okay, so last weekend was the 2 6s, but that was a window. That was like a very definitive window. No. Last weekend we went to Vermont in the river, and that just sucked. Period. Except for you. You were on them like the whole time, so there really wasn't a window. The weekend before that, so like 3 weeks ago now. No, 2 weeks ago. That was definitely a bite window, because there was a definitive bite window, but the rain came in and shut him down on us. Mm-hmm. That's the thing we found. Friday is kind of hard to tell because we waited until the rain came out, so I think we just got there at the right time. But Sunday, when I was out alone, there was like definitively a bite window. I think if I had stayed at that first pond and waited it out, they probably would have turned back on, because the sun did eventually come out and warm things up pretty fast. But I went to that second pond, and I'm thinking it was much more the feeding window than it was the bait selection I had made to begin with. Because like there was nothing for the first half hour, 45 minutes, and then just turned on. And then there was a little window where I had to kind of try and figure out that cadence, or maybe they just moved a little bit. I think it was more cadence than anything. And I was on them for, Really, I think it was only like an hour and a half window, if that. And then it shut off. I didn't get bit for 2 hours before I finally got another bite, and 2 more after that. So 3 more bites, but spread out over like 45 minutes. And they were completely spread out, random, nowhere near each other. And I think just luck of the draw. So I wholeheartedly agree that bite window is another key factor at this time of the year that I'm not sure a lot of people understand just how significant that can be. It can be a doozy. I did see question a little higher.
I saw one
There it
next
is,
to
Dan.
you.
What do you guys use for jerkbait rod, size, and action? I use the Team Lose Custom Pro, which I believe are being discontinued at this point, so they're on sale. They still have a ton of options, so if you guys want, go to lose.com, and you go to their shop page. They still have a lot, and they are phenomenal rods for their price point, especially on the sale price. They're incredible. I have 3 of these. Andrew, you have 2?
I think I have 2.
And one's your jig rod.
I have... Is it?
Yeah, your primary jig rod is that Lose rod, which is a 7.4 heavy, I think, medium heavy.
7.4 medium heavy fast, but it's the ledge edition.
Okay, so I have the Team Loose Custom Pro rod. It's their all-purpose casting rod. It's 7 foot, medium, moderate, fast, and it's got a full cork handle on it. Part of me almost went with their 610, but it's a medium heavy fast. They had a 6.8 that's a medium fast, and I was like, I like the 7 foot rod because I can really sling even a light jerkbait really, really easily. I do hit the boat a little more often than I want, but I really like that rod. It's comfortable. Yeah, you hit the boat with everything.
Even when I pee, I can't even get over the side.
Come on, microburst, get over the edge. Carla, thank you very much for the donation. Your mom donated again.
Oh,
just put
thanks,
that in
Mom.
the Andrew Bank.
Yeah.
What is your jerkbait rod? Is that the one from John Wicked Custom Rods rod?
That is the one that I have been using. Yeah. When I've been throwing them. No, actually, I've been throwing it with that jig rod that he gave me. I don't know what the hell that rod is.
I thought it was that crankbait rod that you started using. That was the first custom one that you got from him.
Correct. Yes. Okay. You were right.
And I think that's a 610. It's
not super long.
I'm pretty sure he said it was a 610. He ended up cutting it down a smidge, ended up being a little shorter than a 7 foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's medium, moderate, fast too, I believe.
It's like medium, moderate. Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Mint.
It's a sweet rod.
JP, what was the water temp you were all throwing that jerkbait in? 40.5 on Friday, and then I got there, I started recording the intro of the video like 20 minutes after I got there, and the water temp was still reading 40.8. And then within 20 minutes, it fell to 40.1 to 40 to 40.1, and it just kept bouncing wherever I went. I think the highest I saw was 40.3, like after the first full hour of being there. But I had moved to a slightly different area of the lake, so could have been wind and or current, whatever it was playing into it that just made that little bit of a hair warmer. But yeah, essentially 40 degrees. And I will throw a jerkbait right down to ice in. There's some days where that's just your best bet.
I have literally caught fish underneath ice. like there's like ice and you cast past it and you can get it down underneath it. I've caught fish underneath ice. It's pretty cool. It's definitely nerve-wracking having a fish jump on the other side of the ice and your line scraping the ice, and it's cool. It's pretty cool.
So this is a great question, and especially related to where we've been fishing lately and where I was both times Friday and Saturday. Do you ever throw a jerkbait in standard muddy water, or is it mostly cleared water?
Water.
The pond I was fishing in, I'm not sure. There's probably a number of factors that drove to it. It's typically pretty stained anyway. Like I would consider it tannic. Like that spot where I got the 2.6s. Like average visibility there is like 3 feet maybe. Like on a good day.
It's pretty clear.
Okay. It was really less than a foot. All weekend it was less than a foot.
Oh Jesus.
That spot we fish and then all the way back to the ramp, that was all blown out. You couldn't see more than a foot down. And they for two different outings. It was essentially 32 fish in 4.5 to 5 hours of fishing across 2 different days. And it was in like the darkest water I've fished in a while. it was bad, but dude, they were all over. Like again, Friday, I think that chartreuse, a little bit of chartreuse on the tail of the jerkbait made all the difference in the world. But for me, I was just fishing It's almost like that slightly opaque, dark perch pattern from Megabass. And, it's like a little clear down towards the belly, but, the whole back is black and the stripes for it are really pronounced, and the goldish orange of the perch, the main body, the yellow portion of it was like dark. They were all over it. Oddly enough, I couldn't get them to bite anything that had chartreuse or like that black gold orange color combo. Like they just wanted that perch. I was more than happy to force feed that.
I haven't really had much luck there with chartreuse colors anyway. I think it's got to be with like the water. It's weird. I don't know.
Yep. And it's funny. So this is. Let me come back to that, because actually JP's comment here plays really well into this too. We were talking about like cadence and how long you got to wait. But one of the things I want to talk about is what you and I have talked about a lot, Andrew, is how subtle that bite can be sometimes. Like, I mean, literally in the same spot, you'll pull 10 fish out of it, and all 10 will bite fairly differently from like broad perspective, but the extreme from like how violent to how subtle it is insane. And I experienced that again firsthand on Sunday. But JP said 20 to 30 second pause is long, that takes some patience. Fish a Demiki in upper 30-degree water, and you do that successfully, everything else in the world becomes fast to you.
Yeah.
When you're waiting, arm locked for 60 to 90 seconds for a fish to make up its mind to bite, and then it trucks it, and you're like, Jesus Christ, okay, I got him. It changes your perspective on everything for what you're willing to be patient for.
You can throw any bait in any color water, any stained water. They're gonna know it's there. They don't only use our eyes.
No, truth. And it's more about that, like, the feeding up or feeding down thing. That was like our mantra for how many years? Especially when we were going for smallmouth, because that's what you got to figure out. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much in a nutshell for them. And then you can go a lot further with it, but that's kind of like always the overarching theme with those freaking fish is trying to figure out, are they feeding up or are they feeding down? Am I going bottom contact, or if I'm working in the middle of the water column? Largemouth seem to have a much wider range for what they're willing to do. Like, you can almost,
I don't give a shit, I'm going to eat it.
Exactly. You can almost always force feed some kind of moving bait and or some kind of jig to them almost all year round. But then you get into these weird times of the year this time where they very definitively are either only going to eat off the bottom or they're only going to eat in the middle. And we've seen that where it's like, okay, conditions are ripe that it could literally either be a jig or a jerk bait, and some days it's both. And over the last 2 trips out there, we've seen both, where it's like, okay, we killed them on jigs, and I got lucky on that one moving bait with the big friggin' swim bait. And then now this past weekend, where I literally could not get them to touch a jig, and I would throw the jerk bait for 20 minutes and pick up the jig and try and pick apart the rock piles, but they wouldn't touch it. And as soon as I threw that jerk bait back in, I got bit again. So it's kind of funny how something like that happens at times. And color sometimes, and more often than not, matters, but I don't know. I digress.
I feel like it's shades of colors that matter, really.
Yeah.
Like if you're working like hard bait stuff, I feel like the shades, and like if it's like matte or shiny or clear, or like the contrast, really.
Yep. So going into that, Alec had a good point. 30-second pauses with really subtle twitches. Keep the line slightly tight so you can see the bite while you stare down the line. Will make you go crazy, but worth it. Thank you. That was the next point I was going to make. And it was a lesson that someone explained that to me. It was the 2 J's from Beast Coast. And you probably said it too. But when I was trying to really gain my confidence, or regain my confidence, actually, in this case with the jerkbait 3 years ago, and they're like, dude, you got to watch your line, because sometimes those big girls will just come up and just mouth it. They don't really open their mouth and pop. They just kind of open up and give a little butterfly kisses. And you won't feel it, but if you're watching the line, you'll see a little twitch. And that's literally what I had to do to catch that 4-pounder. And I caught another one that's actually pretty close to 2 pounds. They're my 2 biggest fish of the day this past Sunday. I never would have caught them if I wasn't watching my line like a hawk. It's kind of like fishing a wacky rig Senko, where you're rarely looking to feel the bite. You're watching your line like a hawk to just see any change.
You lay your line down on the water and you watch it twitch.
Yep. And that 4-pounder, I was staring down, like craning my neck, rod, and like I had my line slightly tight, and all of a sudden I just saw, like, it wasn't even so much a twitch as it was like there just appeared to be like almost like a little teeny tiny V line that came off my line really quick. Like something grabbed it and gently pulled it forward and back really quick. So you could see there was movement, but it was subtle. I'm like, I think it's a fish. And I just swung. I'm like, oh, holy shit, I got a fish. But that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't, one, looking at my line, and two, keeping it very, very, very slightly taut. Enough that any movement is going to show in your line, but not so much that literally any movement in your arm is going to impact movement in your bait as well. Sometimes that can be detrimental to your overall plans. Josh, I literally only cast when I see a bass that's 2.5 plus. You'll learn that way. There you go, Northeast Bassin. Cadence is very important, so is depth range. I tend to use 110 plus 1 and plus 2 in the fall, winter, and other slow sinking jerkbaits. In deeper water, like right now, I would be using the 110 plus 2 almost exclusively. But when you're fishing kettle ponds around here, where, in my case, I was sitting in 6 to 8 feet of water all day, and the deepest I fished was 9 feet. So you can only get away with a 110, a regular 110. If you use anything that's even kind of slow sinking, by the time you get that 30-second pause down, it's already on the bottom. So you got to use something that damn nearly suspends or is so insanely slow and falling or rising that way you're not getting buried, because by the time you get the fish long enough to actually commit to it, you either might be at the surface or you might be on the bottom again. Mm-hmm. So you got to play around with those things when you're working around different depths. But at any rate, I do agree with you. Josh, I never pause for more than 15 seconds, and I'm only pausing that long when I can see my bait is parked on the bass's nose. Live scope and cheater. And so, what is the longest, like, on a regular basis, Andrew, working a jerkbait that you've had to, like, especially this time of year, that, like, okay, all day, every fish I caught, I had to wait like 30 seconds. Whatever that number is that you can confidently remember, like, what is the longest you had to wait?
Minute and a half.
Like, consistently? Like, every single fish?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm getting there, but not right now. I'm not there.
It was at the pond that we had to fix the boat ramp to bring your boat to, not far from here.
Oh, yeah.
It was on a super calm day. I was out in there in my John boat, and I was just sitting. I went twitch, and just waited. And they would not hit it, and they wouldn't eat it if I moved it again. And then they would just take it and go, oh shit! Because remember that day, they would like rip the rod out of our hand.
Just remembering that day we took my oldest son, we went out there. We left the expo, the New Hampshire expo, and everyone's like, "Where are you guys going?" If they're sticking around for the show, I'm like, "We're going fishing."
There's open water right down the road.
we're 20 minutes away from open water later. And I remember that I think I only caught 2 fish, and I think they was on a lipless. And you put that jerkbait, and I remember, like, after the 4th or 5th fish, I'm like watching. I'm like, Jesus, you really are not moving that thing at all. Nope. And then as soon as they bit, the whole rod's just like.
Literally, I turned around once. We got video of it somewhere. Turned around once, and my whole arm was just like, oh Jesus!
I had one fish hit it like that hard, where like the whole rod just like shoof on me on Sunday. And then I had 2 more that like definitively, like, you see the rod just go. Like, just the rod tip bend over hard.
And it's just stayed there.
Yep. Cool. Everything else, it was either the lightest tick or I saw my line move. Everything else was really, really subtle. But I was just curious about thinking about the opposite end of this, the extreme. And I think a lot of people think that is the way it has to be done when you're talking about fishing a jerkbait this time of the year. And that's definitely not the case.
No.
Guy I was fishing with on Friday, Dennis.
Like, he doesn't fish slow.
He does not fish slow. And he is like jerkbait is his favorite thing to do. He has 2 7s and an 8 in the last 3 years, all spring fishing with a jerkbait. And he fishes just like Josh. He's like, I don't even fish a spot long. I think the longest I wait is 5 seconds. And this is like immediately after ice out, like water temp is barely 40 degrees. Bass are like just coming out of everything. He's like, no, I keep the trolling motor on. I constantly moving 3 to 5 seconds between jerks. Guy hammers them on jerkbaits. It made me really rethink, like, do you really need to go that slow all the time for a jerkbait?
You just got to figure out what works for you. I've never really followed what other people do unless I'm like learning big baits like I was doing. I was listening to Oliver, like obviously, but like, but then I was like, wait a minute, he said like jerk baits, and I'm like, I have a different way of working jerk bait than I feel like than anybody else. Just like everybody else has their own way of working jerk bait, so I just kind of brought that into glide fishing, and I figured out my own thing that I like to do, and it works.
Yep. I think we may have already touched upon this. We're slowly catching up here in the chat. JP said, do y'all throw deeper jerk baits, deeper diving jerk baits at all in the colder water, like a Vision 110 or Plus 2? Vision 110 Plus 2 is my go-to in the spring. My absolute favorite thing to throw for friggin' smallmouth. And it works incredible.
Never thrown one.
Oh, you will when
No, I've thrown a Plus 1, but I haven't thrown the Plus 2.
Are you sure? I think you have thrown the one that day we went out on Mother's Day because it was like abysmal weather. We weren't even supposed to fish. My wife looked at me. She's like, "We were supposed to go see the Clydesdales over at the Budweiser factory."
No, that was a Rapala.
Oh, okay. I thought you picked up a 110 Plus 2 because that's all I was throwing.
It looks like one is big.
Yeah, it's huge. I need to remember to bring out that other jerkbait box I have that has all my Rapalas and Lucky Crafts and Strike Kings in it as we go out here the next couple of trips, because I think some of those are going to play, because I got those Rapalas with the feather on the rear treble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
That's what caught me all those fish that year.
Yeah.
The orange and black one.
That's what Dennis was up to, what I say, 8 or 9, and then I went from 1 to 9. I caught right up, and then I was throwing that orange one is what really got me caught up. He's like, all right, I'm changing my color. I gotta get back on these fish. And he picked up that Rapala with a little feather on the rear treble, and it was essentially the same color. And he means just whack, whack, whack. Yep. Wasted no time.
The feather is a thing. It is a thing. It
Absolutely
definitely changes it.
Sean Miller, megabass hooks are super sticky. They will take the bait and run. Yeah, you don't really need to set the hook on them, that's for sure. They just kind of stick themselves. They also really have to stick your gloves.
The last time I was out there throwing a jerkbait and I got hit and I just set the hook like a jig. I was like, yeah, that may have been a little too hard.
It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, by the way, I noticed it in the jerkbait because you left it in the cup holder. I went and tied it on, and like trouble. It's just like, yeah.
Oh shit!
It's like, oh, I know when he did that.
That's my bad.
Dan, heading to Champlain in late June. Any advice would help. First time there. Probably be a bed fest, depending upon which end you're on. I do just have fun. You can't do anything wrong up there.
Throw a Carolina rig up there. It's freaking amazing.
I mean, we were up there middle of May. Well, I was the last 2 years. Andrew was up with us for him and I, and then my friend Dennis and Bill this year for 4 days, right about in the middle of May. But, we had that like prolonged crap for like that late winter, early spring. It was overcast almost every day, and water temps were way behind schedule. So it should have been a bed fest, but we got there literally the first day of a heat wave after like the first week of like finally nice weather. And it was 90 something degrees all 4 days we were there. And by the end of it, like the afternoon of the last day we were supposed to leave, they started finally moving up on beds. But prior to that, oh my God, dude, it was just a pre-spawn freaking smash fest of jigs.
You got
jigs and jackhammers.
One day.
102 fish in one day.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you just said 100, sorry.
Yeah, 100. 102.
That was dumb. And we caught 80 the day before, 70 something, 80, I forget.
Yeah, and our best and it was all big fish too. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were catching 1 pounders all day long. We're all catching like 2.5s and bigger all day long.
2.5s to 4 3/4 all day long.
Yeah.
And you got a 5.2, I think you did. No, Dennis got a couple 5s.
Dennis got 5s. Neither one of us broke 5. The biggest he had was that 4-pound 12 ounce or 12 or 13 ounce smallmouth.
12.
Yeah. Oh, hey Dan, how you doing, buddy? Josh, I watch my graph and watch the Eat It, but I do line watch also. I can't wait, man. It's coming real soon. We get that active target or live scope. I haven't decided yet. Need to figure that out. I went and looked at that boat yesterday. And I gotta text him back. I can't do it.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate.
About 10,000 off of what I could probably do, and the wife and I would be comfortable with it. But God, that's a beautiful boat, dude. It's got an
I
HDS
s-
16
he,
live on the bow with active target, and
he messaged me out of nowhere, and he's like, "You want to buy a boat?" And I'm like, "No, but I know somebody who does." And I sent you the picture. I'm like, "Dude, this is perfect."
yeah, I literally the only thing it needs is Mega 360 and a second console, but I could live without the second console. Just makes it difficult, one, for you as a passenger, and two, where the hell do I mount the other two GoPros, which are pretty integral to what we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I don't know. There's that. Glad to be here. Thanks, Dan. Ooh, I like the Edo Shiner and X80 Trick Darter more than the 110. If I do use the 110, I prefer the high float and FX over the regular 110. I actually have a few of the Edo Shiners. Those are nice. Do you have any of those?
What?
The Edo
Yeah,
Shiners versus the 110. It's almost the same thing. Actually, that may have been the biggest factor between Dennis and I on Friday because he was throwing the Edo Shiner. It's a little bit bigger than the 110.
I don't think I have that. I don't think I have any of those. No, probably not.
Brian, hey friend. This time of the year, are you finding the fishing? Wow, are you finding the bite is better at sun up or sun down?
It's like 10
Either?
to 2.
Middle. Bingo. It's funny. And so where I was on Sunday, the first pond I went to, I left it like, trying to think, right about 10 o'clock. And yeah, 10, somewhere between 10 and 10:30. And as I pulled out, another older gentleman pulled down in. And he's like, "Oh, how long you been here?" I was like, 3 hours. I'm forget this. I'm going to try my luck at a different pond because I'm running out of time. And he was like, "Well, what are you seeing?" And I told him, he was like, "Usually I find this place, they bite a lot better after 1 o'clock. And then you'll see it. Like everything you saw, they'll start coming up." I was like, "Yep, I've seen it, and I don't doubt you one bit, but I am not willing to wait until then. I'm going to go to a spot that I know they're biting." I'm glad I made that decision because I was about done fishing by 1 o'clock versus waiting over the other pond for them to turn on. But yeah, you got to give them a few hours for the sun to kind of get up and penetrate and warm things up. Even if it brings it up like a half a degree, it makes a huge difference. And you'll see that. You'll see it like almost every fish you mark is down at the bottom and doing nothing. And the next thing you know, you're marking them like a foot off the bottom and like 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. So yeah, that midday bite towards like 12 to 2 seems to be I have recency bias because these last 2 trips, and that's why I keep reflecting back on, but I'm trying to think of like all of our experience in general. But I agree with Andrew, 10 to 2.
Dan, don't listen to Dan. He says go single console. Put Andrew's FXR gear to work. You know how much work we put that gear through? That gear goes through enough work.
You'd be replacing that every year.
Fishing with us. I feel like
Andrew bending hooks since 2003.
It's 93.
Bending hooks and breaking hearts. But not now. What? Wait, you thinking real hard?
Kinda. Did you look sexy? Oh, thanks, Sean.
Northeast. Try the Rapala calm down minnow when the water is real cold. I'm pretty sure I actually have some of the. No, I'm not going to get it down. I have an old jerkbait box. I have one Plano 3700 dedicated just to my 110s, and I have another one for like everything else. My friggin' Strike King and Smittix and what the hell is that? It was there. Oh yeah.
I got that one.
I got Rapalas, Berkeley's,
dude,
you name it. I got it in there.
This one's cool. I was throwing this for snook down in Florida.
Nice. Northeast. What do you say? Go to the suck hole, going into Mounts Bay, and throw a blade bait, and you'll have a blast. If the wind forecast wasn't going to be what it's supposed to be this weekend, I'd be tempted to finally go up there this Sunday. But I think we're going to go somewhere else. We shall see. Forget Andrew. Yeah, go to the single console. I ain't getting up, get out, sun up in November, December. Dude, the only reason I still get up that early when I go out fishing like this time of the year is
because we have a 4-hour drive.
Well, yeah, 1, long-ass drive. 2, we still have enough, like, especially on the bigger, deeper bodies of water, we still crack them first thing when we get there. So, like, I'm you know what? I'd rather get there and not catch anything for the first 3 hours and know that it just wasn't going to happen, then miss that potential additional bite window in the morning. Because I'm absolutely obsessed with everything I do fishing. So I'm willing to go out there and get up at 4 a.m. in the middle of December to drive 150 miles to freeze my butt off at the, ass crack of dawn. Even if, because I've caught enough 4 and 5 pound smallmouth first thing in the morning. Like literally my first PB last year, I caught at 7:15 in the morning. It was my first, not my first cast, my first fish of the day was 5 pound smallmouth. So that's to me, and that was almost right now. Either end of November, I think it was actually the first weekend in December. It's right about this same time. It was after Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's like, to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm totally worth it.
I'm totally worth it.
Hello, who's your favorite member on YouTube? I don't watch YouTubers. Those guys are dumb. They don't know what they're talking about.
Not a single one of them.
For real, though? I mean, aside from you, Oliver, Brandon Polnick and G-Man. Although, G-Man, I actually don't watch as many videos as him. Polnick, I've never missed a single video.
Yeah,
I actually started watching his hunting one.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They are. I just like the tournament aspect of it.
Favorite member on YouTube?
If you want to be a favorite,
I don't know.
If you want to be a favorite, some people, you should hit the join button. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys don't understand English. Did I misread it? Who's your favorite member on YouTube?
Oh, the member.
Oh, Jesus.
No, my answer was right. I said you, Oliver. My nose
English is really hard. Okay. I'm going to pick Lisa. She's been a long time supporter. She's always there. She's shared the vast majority of videos. I met her in person. She is an absolutely lovely person. Lisa, hands down the favorite member. Oliver, you're a close second. Followed by Dan. Dan and Oliver are my 2A and 2B.
Yeah, I like them. They're pretty cool. I don't know who I like you all.
Oh, come on, phone. Just making sure I didn't miss anything.
But
my reception down here is horrible, so I'm probably getting like blasted in the background that as soon as I go back upstairs and get cell service again, it's going to be like ba-ding, 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 ba-ding. It always does.
So I'm trying to shame your audience into giving you money. Appreciate you.
Tell you what, let's flip the script a little bit on this. I'm curious. 2-part question. All right, we're going out fishing this weekend. At least I am. If he's feeling good enough, he's welcome to join me. But the ship's leaving with or without him.
I am 100% coming.
You know where we're going.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And what I can't decide is if I want to go for largemouth or smallmouth, because we haven't targeted smallmouth. But like that, our whole plan this year was to target. We're going for that 8-pound largemouth.
Yeah, that's my goal.
That's been both of our goals. Although I have admitted that I will even settle for another 7. And at this point, I'm like, I'll even settle for another 6 because like our goal.
We're settling. I'll settle for a 9. Going double digits here. Let's go 10.
Sean, we'll be up there Sunday. Get your ass out there. So, the whole point. I got to back this up a little backstory before I ask the 2 questions here. The whole goal for this year was we were chasing an 8-pound largemouth. Like we've had phenomenal success the last couple of years, like focusing on just catching big smallmouth and as many as we could. And we've been very successful at doing that. So we flipped it back around. We're like, all right, all this year, we're just going for giant largemouth. And we have driven to many different places. We've tried many different things. We did more night fishing than usual this year, where we haven't really done it that much in the last couple of years. And it has definitely paid off. Like the number of 5+ pound fish that we both have this year is definitely better. And then like where they are inside that 5 and 6 pound class is definitely better. The sheer number of 4+ pound largemouth, the number of 20+ pound bags, and really like even 22+ pound bags on best 5 have all been phenomenally better because that was the goal all year. Like, let's just try and catch like big fish, like big largemouth. Let's change what we're doing, change our presentation, expand on what we already know and find those subtle nuances that end up providing better results for us, and it has absolutely paid off. This is I caught 4 6-pounders this year, all of them. All of them in New Hampshire. Oddly enough, all of them 30 minutes from my house, despite all the driving I've done. All my 4 biggest fish have been 30 minutes from my friggin' house. So now I'm like, what if you know we're gonna go out there this Sunday and we're gonna have a good day, would you rather see and hear us talk more about smallmouth or largemouth? Because I'm leaning more towards smallmouth because it's been a while. It has been a hot minute. And the plus side, they're both kind of mingling in the same areas anyway, so we essentially can do both at the same time.
Well, yeah, they're literally all together in that lake.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere you go.
Oliver, I have a confession. I bailed in fishing today. It's cold, like 67 plus the wind chill factor. You want to tell them when we were fishing in last Sunday? Not this past Sunday, the Sunday before.
Cold. And
high of 27 with 30-mile-an-hour winds.
It's about a little less than 0 degrees with wind chill.
Oh, and we didn't have the sun for half the time either.
And we had gale force winds with snow at one point.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Right in the afternoon.
He was on the trolling motor with the trolling motor on high. The wind came in with the snow and everything. Completely white out everything. I'm sure if you have me on Instagram or us, obviously us on Instagram, you saw the picture of me in snow and just not too happy. And
it was a great picture.
He was on trolling motor on high, and the boat was pushing the boat backwards.
I looked back at him. I'm like trying to get the boat because we were fishing close to a dangerous spot. And I looked at him. I was like, "Please fire up the motor!" I'm like trying to get the boat to go forward. You're like, "Ah!"
I was like, "Shit." That was rough.
Oh, just missed it. I didn't just miss it. Ryan, thank you. You're the best. You know, anybody else, just saying. At any point, we always graciously accept donations to help out what we do. And you can do that any one of 3 ways. Down in the video description below, there's links to our Venmo, PayPal, or if you're set up, you can do it right here through YouTube, and you can donate directly there. Literally anything, everything, it all helps immensely. 100% of everything you guys give have gone back into the channel.
Literally.
With what?
Literally everything.
Well, technically with one exception, although it was literally just the money that your mom has donated. And that went into new late season / ice fishing gear for you, which I do want to do a proper review on all the gear that we have, because I mean, we talk about it, but we haven't really talked about it in depth. And now we have that added benefit of having used all this literally for years at this point. At least in my case, your stuff's new, but I have the same stuff. That's something we should be putting more effort and time into.
We should just do a video with that on the water.
Sean, you did pay for.
We could just wear it.
I mean, we could. Sean, you did, and maybe next weekend, not this Sunday, the following weekend, we were talking about going stripers. I saw that. Knew that was coming.
Dude, it's stuck in my curtain.
See your hairy belly.
Don't talk about my belly. Stuck in my curtain. Fuck it. Those are my belly pubes.
Oh, gross. Everybody saw your treasure trail.
Nice.
Brian, one of you focus on just smallmouth, the other one just do largemouth and see how you do. I can't. I've literally. Ooh. Hang on. It's on my desk. Hang on.
I gotta pee. Speaking of peeing, no. Where was it? Oliver. Our pee does not freeze before it hits the water. I have actually fished the coldest that I have fished. The coldest.
I haven't even told Andrew about this yet.
Coldest I've ice fished was -25. That sucked. And that was the first day that I met
was
Jim
that
from
you?
Filthy Anglers.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I know what day this was. It was you, Todd, and Jim. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys were dumb.
On that pond too, dude.
Oh my god.
It was like a 2-acre pond. We caught like 50 freaking bass in like 2 hours.
Oh, I gotta. Josh, night fishing easier than using 4 basic sonar. So I admittedly and understandably gotten a lot of crap for making a joke about how easy night fishing is. I still stand by it. One, because it was a joke.
It's so fucking easy.
And two, because it is easy. There's a reason. Dude, I remember reading, and I literally still have Bassmaster magazines that my dad kept from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I need to go back through. I guarantee you if I pull one of those out, one of them's going to talk about night fishing being the time of the year to catch, one, your biggest fish, and two, like just some of the best fishing in the world, because it is easy. They just throw a crankbait, jackhammer, big bait. Like, and I think the thing is, like, when people say, oh, it's not that easy, if your only target is giants, which don't come that easy, then yeah, absolutely, you're right. But it's literally easy. And it's seriously some of the most fun. And I love it. I love every second of it. There's a reason why we still do it. We catch plenty of big fish while we're doing it, and it's just fun. There's something different about fishing in pitch black, being completely alone and just blasting a crankbait over flats and smacking rocks, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and you have no idea what's going to happen until that thing hits the deck, and it's just fun.
If it's a fish, a loon, or the freaking creature from the Black Lagoon. That was pretty good.
That it was. But back to Brian. One of you focus on just smallmouth, and one of you just do largemouth. See how you do. I need to go for largemouth. One, because I have 4 6-pounders on the year, and I would kill to have at least one more in that size range or bigger. Two, there's a couple of baits that I've already bought that I've been dying to fish and trying, and like specifically for this time of the year, like going for a trophy largemouth. They also have trophy smallmouth potential. Last but not least, I haven't even told Andrew this happened yet.
I see it.
I got a new toy. And I'm going to throw the bejesus out of this thing on Sunday. Hog Hunters, 7.5 inch or 7-inch yellow perch that I got from Pasong at Sherpa Swim Baits. He had a bunch of extras. He sold me this. Got it in yesterday.
I'm getting
got a bunch
madder.
of weights with it. What'd you say? I'm getting madder. Well, I got this Defiance too.
Yes, dude.
But this one I can weight the absolute crap out of, and I'm gonna give that a go. A couple other swim baits I've got mine, and I'm just
I want to
jigs and swim baits.
I really want to throw that Defiant down in 55 feet of water on the bottom.
You might need to throw in a few more nail weights. I put 4 5/32 ounce nail weights in it, and it still doesn't sink quite as fast as I want it to. I think if you put in 4 more, should be good. I gotta tell you though,
things that come up like a porcupine in the fish's mouth.
I'm rather proud of myself because I weighted the absolute crap of that thing, and it still sinks exactly the way it was before I weighted it myself. So I did a really good job with like precision placement on those baits.
Well, if it doesn't work, then I have my camera that you guys are sitting on is literally standing on top of a box of 3-inch slugs for my shotgun, so I can take that.
That'll do it.
3.5-inch slugs. That'll weight it down.
Yeah, it will.
Just duct tape it to it.
Sean, my buddy caught a bat in the Vermont brownie factory at night. Yeah, I can believe that. I've literally been hit in the head by a bat, like flew right into my ear. It felt like a really soft, feathery tennis ball hit me.
I had to hit it right in the throat. Oh, fuck.
I'm just like cranking along. I was just, what the hell? I pinned the comment that Oliver left regarding the LBOs for whoever did ask that question. I saw it, but I forgot who said it. But I put it there for you just in case. Oh, JPS.
Right there. Quieter. Yep.
Different. Dan, bro, swimbait dudes get monsters, and it's always between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. in general terms. Yeah, and that's what we've noticed too, with some exceptions. Like
I've noticed, like a lot of the bites come from as soon as the sun gets behind the tree line. That's when I'll start picking up the rat and start working wake baits, and then it'll die off about 10 minutes after it sets, and then
like full dark,
yeah, and then it'll pick back up at around 10 o'clock, 10:30, between 10:30 and 11, and then from there on until whenever time of the night.
Yep.
And like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it dies, and then it'll pick back up again like 3 or 4. It's like all night long.
That there's something about like that 1 or 2 o'clock a.m. and p.m. That's literally the exact hours that all of my biggest bass have been caught. For largemouth. Smallmouth, it's all over the place. So I can't even give you a specific time frame that I think is best for them. I think that's just more about position and opportunity and being prepared at the right place at the right time. But largemouth, middle of the day, middle of the night, that's when all my biggest fish have been caught. It's kind of funny.
Might have been all over the place.
I just hate night tournaments. Takes me 2 days to recover. Yeah, I fished one night tournament, 2007. Bubba Bass, Stumpfield, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Dude, there was over 30 boats there for that.
Ew.
I'm pretty sure it was 33 boats that showed up for that tournament.
That's a lot.
It was crazy, but it was a blast, and I'll never forget it because it was supposed to be a really nice night, and they said it was 10 or 20% chance of passing showers. Didn't even think about it, and all I had was a raincoat, like a wicked light duty, jogging kind of raincoat at that time. 20 minutes before the tournament's supposed to start, one giant rain cloud passed right over just the lake. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I just looked up and I was like, yeah, no, this makes perfect sense. I'm watching literally every single person on that lake put on rain gear except for dumbass me in shorts and a t-shirt. And I got drenched and I stayed drenched till I got home at 9:30 the next day.
Freezing cold all night.
No, it was nice out. I was comfortable. Because it was hot that day. And it still stayed close to, it had to have been at least upper 70s because I was comfortable the whole night. Not once did I feel cold, despite the fact I was soaked. It was beautiful out. One of those perfect midsummer nights where staying out at night was the way to do this. Night fishing ain't good this time of the year. Always figured it was a summer thing. I think it's pretty much done. I don't think I know of anybody that's even trying night fishing. Most of those guys that would do that too, that I know of, are mostly big bait anglers anyway. And a lot of those guys are starting to hang up their boats, or they're starting to throw more conventional stuff. Not all of them. I know plenty of guys are still slinging the big baits only, and they're catching fish here and there.
I don't think I've ever night fished this late in the season.
No, we
it just gets dark too early, and it's just man, I just don't want to be outside in this.
Man, it gets too cold that. For me, because I've been night fishing my whole life. My dad used to take me out when I was 9, 10 years old, and we'd go out till 1 or 2 in the morning out of the John boat. And then when I took the John boat of my own when I turned 16, I used to go night fishing all the time because I just had a John boat with a little tiny freaking trolling motor and this teeny tiny anchor. So anytime there was any kind of boat traffic or just wind, I'd get pushed around and it just sucked. But if I went out at night, it was nice. No people, no wind, didn't have to worry about it. So it was one of my favorite things to do for years and years and years. But the other aspect of it too is it's nice to escape the heat. Especially this summer, dude, with how hot it was, we ended up going out a couple of nights because it was just so miserably hot.
Let's just not fish today. Let's just go out tonight.
sleep in. We'll go out tonight.
Yeah. The fun ones are when we start late in the day, start at 2, 3 o'clock, and then fish through all the way to midnight.
Yep.
That's that one. Those are fun.
Yeah, we've had some
smashing them all day, and then it's kind of a lull. You kind of get to relax, eat some food, and then boom, 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 big baits.
Dude, I'll never forget that day, 4th of July. We were out.
Dude, that was sick.
We went out. I think we hit the water at 1 in the afternoon. And we ended up putting 60 fish in the boat between 1 and 7 on shaky heads. It was stupid. We caught so many fish. And then it was a 2-hour lull. And then the big bait bite went off for an hour and a half. And we didn't catch a ton, but we caught enough. I was yeah, no, this is totally worth it.
And we had a chance. We had a chance to catch giant pike in that place too.
Yeah.
Which is just some of the pictures I've seen of the fish that come out of there.
Oh my God. They're stupid.
Huge. Upper 40s.
Dude, the last time we were there was with Kristen, I think. One of the most. I think we've been there 2 or 3 times since then, and it was late in the year and it was cold.
Yeah, I remember this.
Had a pike come right up to the boat right at your feet. Oh my God! I don't blame you because I do the same thing. Every time a big pike like that, even though it's they're
that
awesome.
Thing was 4 feet long, dude. It was it wasn't tiny. It was huge.
They're so fast. You know they're there. You know what's going to happen. You've seen it happen 1,000 times, but for some reason, it's still utterly
Shit.
terrifying for the briefest moment when you see something that big come at you that fast. Like, you can't help but just like, God.
Yeah, I honestly thought that I had, like, you know when you, like, reel in, like, lily pads or whatever, and it's got, like, 4 feet of shit behind it? That's
Yep.
what I thought it was, and then I just saw the rest of the body. I'm like, oh my God.
Northeast bass fishing. Always lows and highs when night fishing. During the lows, it's hard to stay awake sometimes. Buddy, it sounds like you need to pack more caffeine.
Dude, we go out there with like 3, 4 monsters each. We get off the boat 3 in the morning. We're like, I'm gonna make it home.
Every time.
I'm gonna beat you home.
It's like at a certain point you cross a threshold where it's like, maybe earlier in the night I would have been tired, but that was like 4 hours ago, and now like I'm. It's kind of like I started my next day. I'm gonna keep going until I hit my bed, and even then I'm still gonna need like another half an hour to wind down.
Yeah, because your heart's going a million miles a second.
Yeah.
Sean, would you stop? No, that's my heart.
Yeah. Stop tapping your feet. That's my heart.
Ain't tapping your feet.
All right. Well, you know what? It's getting pretty close. Been trying to keep these to about an hour. Jesus. Okay. The way I have my microphone set up now, just tapping the table really resonates to that. Ready? Oh, Chad. Chad, I'm not reading that comment. That was good.
I bet it's funny.
Oh, it is. You know, Chad. One question while everybody's still here. First off, if you haven't done it yet, please drop a like on the stream.
I did it. Come on. I have my YouTube up right here, and I liked it.
See, you're a champ. Thank you.
I like my own pictures.
I guess it's one of those, like, I know what I want to do with everything. Like, Andrew and I talk about this all the time. I know, like, we always have some form of mostly loose plan about, like, what we're doing in the coming weeks, not only just fishing, but, like, for the channel. We try to talk about the stream ahead of times. What else do you guys want to see? What do you think that what's missing from what we do that you'd like to see? I know one big thing that people have been asking about that I know is something I really need to get going is get everything up on some form of actual podcast platform, be it Spotify or Apple Music, or I think Google actually has their own podcast platform too. I need to get that done
because everybody has Spotify.
So
Spotify or Pandora, but I don't think I've touched Pandora in like 3 years now.
So the only reason I haven't gotten it done is because I'm trying to streamline the process because there is a lot that needs to be done. And what I was trying to do with the guy that built my website was set it up so that I could essentially upload it to my website. My website would be tied to Spotify and other streaming services like that. So all I had to do is upload it to one spot and it just pushes out to everything else after that. And it streamlines and already what's going to already be a tedious process, and then life is groovy. But I think I'm just going to have to do the hard work and get it all done, which kind of really sucks because, not really, because this is where I can make Andrew do some work. We need to go out and cut out at least some of the fluff in the beginning. Because if it's going to go up on Spotify, like we have that back and forth kind of shooting the bull at the beginning of the stream. Like, I don't think that's going to translate well, at least for the first dozen or so episodes. Like, it's probably just cut right to the meat and potatoes. So there's some light editing that has to be done, but then just export to MP3 and you're golden. But we're at episode 88 now. We've got quite the backlog of videos. We got to do this too to be able to get just the audio from them.
Yeah, I would start. I mean, we could just start from now. It's not like the people that are going to be following us at first are these guys.
True. Well, and I know there's quite a few that, no, there was a jump off point. It was somewhere in the 20s or 30s. Because I remember I had started this. I had got already like 20 episodes done where I pulled just the audio. But trying to think, there was a point where like the audio quality jumped off exponentially. And I decided everything else before that, I was like, no, I'm not putting that up there because like it's literally just an audio service. If there was at least video with it, people could tolerate the less than ideal audio quality. But all that earlier crap, no, that's probably not going to come off well.
MD just said, I can't imagine listening to this as a podcast. It needs to be visual, interactive thing.
And that's what I always had envisioned, but I know plenty of people that they can't be here to see it. And I can absolutely see the perspective of some people here. Or, I mean, I can see the perspective of everybody that said it, and it's only a few people who have said it, that watching it after the fact isn't nearly as enjoyable as watching it live because, when they hear things, they want to interact, but, it's after the fact. But people can leave comments and I can respond to those, but it's not quite the same.
No.
So, like, I get that. I absolutely get that aspect. So it would be a service to, like, not only people that can't watch it after the fact and just want to listen to it, that, like, you used to be able to put up a YouTube video on your phone and lock your phone and close it, and you'd still get audio. And they took that away. They made it a premium feature. Not everybody pays for YouTube Premium, whatever the hell it's called, because it's mixed results on whether or not it's worth it. So I just want to be able to provide not only that added option for others, but, I mean, it's absolutely an avenue of growth that we are not taking advantage of to reach a whole other demographic of users that are never going to come over here and watch this live, but would more than likely be very willing to be able to listen to it at any time at their leisure, whenever it's most convenient for them. And I'd like to be able to provide that opportunity. Backing up. So, Ryan, bring guests in. Yeah, we do need to do more guests. We had all of them on not too long ago. We'll get them back in.
I don't like Sean's comment.
What did Sean? They can't replay it next year. Andrew on demand. Call in to talk to Andrew. Northeast. What's your guys' favorite lakes in New Hampshire? I moved up here a year and a half ago, and I'm slowly learning the lakes near me and continue to branch out. Thanks. I will tell you right now, we will never tell you that. And that has been our MO since day one. That's nothing new. And it's nothing personal. We're just... It is so easy to blow up a good spot. And I have seen it firsthand, how just, what's that phrase? Loose lips sink ships. And there's like, I mean, this point, we've really narrowed down the list of our favorite lakes for a good reason, because the quality there stands head and shoulders above everything else. And that's why we do not share
because we haven't told anybody.
We have one of our favorite spots that was good for
We tell
years.
our very, very close friends, and that's about it.
Yeah, and even then, that's still selective. Because there's some spots that I've been fishing for, at this point, 15 years. I didn't find myself. Someone told me about it 15 years ago, and I still respect that person by not sharing that lake. So there's that to take into consideration, too. We have seen it firsthand at one of our favorite places that I don't even want to talk about. It's where you lost the 8.
It's junk now.
It's junk because of fishing pressure. I am not kidding and not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. That was a spot that my dad took me to in 1994. I was 9 years old. And him and I have been fishing it ever since then. And it is a phenomenal fishery, or it was. And then, no joke, it was either 5 or 6 years ago now. I think it's been 5 years. It did not matter what time of the year you went there, Saturday or Sunday. Didn't matter. If there was 2 other boats there, you were scratching your head like, what the hell is going on? Why is it so busy?
Mm-hmm.
Not exaggerating.
And you get out there, there's like 4 or 5 boats out there now almost every time. It's like, what the?
Not almost every time.
Yeah.
Every single Saturday and Sunday, there's at least 4, there's usually 5 or 6 bass boats and or John boats out there. Every Saturday, every Sunday. And it happened overnight. Like, I remember the year before that, we were fishing there late in the season. It was great. We had fun. I went there like 2 weeks after ice out that next season. There was 5 freaking trailers there. And I will never forget that day because that has never happened. Now we're talking, so from 94, it may have been 95 actually. I'm going the high side. 95 to, if we say 5 years ago, 27. Jesus, come on, Sean. So what?
You're old.
22 years? 22 years. In 22 years of fishing this lake, I've never seen that many trailers in that one spot. And then the more we talk to people, the more we find out, oh yeah, someone said this was good. And another person said this is good. And I told my best friend, don't tell anybody else. Yeah, not a problem. He tells his best friend, don't tell anybody else. Yeah, no, not a problem. That guy tells his other best friend. And it just keeps going. Every person trusts that one person. That other one person has another one person they trust. And it keeps going and going and going. And for a place of that caliber, done. That place sucks now because the pressure is so bad.
You used to be able to go there and catch 3, 4, 5 4-pounders and in a night or in a day, just with a lot of 3s and 2s. And now it's like, we'll get a 2 here maybe, here and there. And then it's like, we're not even going to try for big fish here anymore. It's just not even worth it.
Yep.
There are a couple times we've gone, though, and still gotten some good. I still got 2 5s out of there this year.
Yeah,
or
you
was
did.
it last this year? What's this year?
No, that was last year. This year, I think we only got 2 4s out of there. That's how bad it was. And that's a place that was like, that was our go-to place. Like, you know what? It's been a while since I caught a donkey largie. Whereas, like, we have a half dozen other ponds where it's like, okay, I've done like crap the last 3 weeks. I want to go catch like 41 pounders to feel good about myself for the day.
Yep.
And this was the opposite end of that spectrum. I haven't caught a big fish in a while. Let's go here because it was that consistent. I mean, it took us a long time to put in the time and effort to figure it out to make it that consistent for us. But it had that kind of volume of big fish that you could make that happen. And there was plenty of days where we did it multiple times. And it's not just us either. Like everybody else we talked to, they've been fishing this place for just as long, if not longer than us. They said the same thing. It's like, it's just not the same. Oh, nope. Donk Swampy, don't even get me started on that pond.
No, it's not that pond, but
it's not that pond, but
that's the same deal.
I know, and I'm having a hard. I'm trying to be careful with my words here. That pond was on a different level for quality, and one person, and I can prove it. One person continued to post about it, putting the exact location, the exact name of it on different Facebook groups over and over and over again. You can't go there anymore on a weekend without having at least 6 boats there. It is
it's not that big.
No, that's the thing. That's a pond that can only fish like at most 3 boats without you being on top of each other all day. And it got absolutely destroyed because of one person posting it on social media and naming the lake over and over and over again. That is prime example number 1, friends, of why you don't post the name of the fucking lakes that you fish. I don't usually get this heated, but that pissed me off seeing that. It pisses me off so much every time I see that. Because, like, we do our part to not do that, to be respectful of others. Because you don't know what those body of waters mean to other people that have been fishing there their whole life. I get it. It's public water. Anybody can share it. But God damn it, man, some people have worked decades to find places like that means something to them. And then some asshat goes and posts about it all over Facebook without understanding the consequences of their actions. And then what made that place special? They are solely responsible for blowing it up. And that's just a selfish dickhead move. End of that.
Bam, and rant.
I can't go any further because I'm just it's not gonna be positive, it's not gonna be friendly, it's gonna be ugly. And then probably you're already well past that point, but it is what it is.
Don't tell your friends the lakes that you catch big fish in.
Yeah. What did Jerry say? I can't believe the number of things I have to do to use my boat in New Hampshire. So, Kevin, I agree with you to an extent. Backgrounds give away a lake as well if you've already been there and you know it. If
you've been there 1,000 times and you know every inch of the place, yeah, it will.
Right. If you've never been there, like...
There's plenty of lakes and pictures that we see, and I have no idea where that is.
Right. Now, granted, I mean, there's a few outliers, right, where there's some very specific landmarks that's like, okay, I should be able to pinpoint around that because that is a very unique, specific landmark. But aside from that, unless you've been there.
We take pictures, we try to make it so the background is like as obscure as possible, whether it's just like the rest of the lake, like blurred out in the back, or I'm not going to go and fill in the background all black and whatnot.
Right. Kyle just texted me, preach, man, I could kiss you. Because he knows exactly what we're talking about. It's the same pond that we both hold very near and dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm. It sucks. That was like literally our favorite place we used to call home base. Now it's just like, we don't live there anymore.
No, we don't even talk about it. We don't even fish it.
Nope. Haven't fished it. We fished it twice this year.
I think 3 times. I went there once in the spring, like right after ice out, and we went back once for night fishing, and we went back that day with John when you caught that 4 on the 7-inch Citizen.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
In all fairness, I think I went 4 or 5 more times after that, but with my kids every time.
Yeah, we didn't go too many times this year. It sucks.
No.
Yep.
That's just how it is. But anyway, back to the original point. Excuse me. In-depth bait reviews. That's another great suggestion. You know what? We really got to, now that it's winter, they have no excuses. We got to get the swim bait scrutiny guys on so we can talk swim baits again. I really want to get them on We get Oliver back on. I'm sure he'd be down. Trying to think.
Oliver should be on. Let's see here. Memory bank. Oh, not that.
Oh, Jerry, I'm thinking of coming up there for 3 weeks in June. I need a fishing license, a boat driver's license, and a $20 plant sticker. Yeah, if you're going to Maine, you need all of it. Oh, if you're just coming up to New Hampshire, though.
Thinking of coming up for 2 or 3 weeks in June. Dude, we had a spot for you, dog.
Should we take him to Vermont?
Yeah.
Dude, in like 1995, Jerry was already a fucking hammer up here. So
Yeah,
I guarantee you, any spot we can think of, he's probably going to be like, oh yeah, I've already caught like 4 8s out of there.
It's like, watch this shit. It worked back in the 60s.
The guy's going to be a walking encyclopedia of everything there is to fish in this area.
I fish with Roland Martin every freaking day, too. So it's like them two mixing. It's... You guys are funny.
Yeah. All right. Suggestions noted. Recommendations also noted. I like all the ideas I saw, so thank you guys very much for that. I think it's a good point to call it quits, though. Sorry about my rant, but at the same time, I do not apologize for what I said. I apologize to an extent for how I said it. Didn't mean to come off quite that aggressive, but man, respect what you have. Understand what you have. And with understanding, will come that respect that you should be showing it. If people find out about places, it is what it is. Like that's half the fun and adventure of fishing. Screw it. Pick a spot on the map and go and enjoy it. But we have so many overpopulated ponds, and when you finally find one of those, it's got way more quality over quantity. They're not that easy to find. So just, man, don't piss away these excellent places by just flapping your lips, people. And again, if someone finds it because they're out adventuring, awesome. That's what it's all about. But you get these bent pole pattern pissheads. Same kind of guys that, you watch blast around the lake all day long and you're on them on one spot and they pull up right beside you. Those are the kind of people that are out there. Where's your favorite spot? And I'm not saying this about you, Northeast. By all means, not a target against you. I'm just thinking about what I see on like Facebook primarily. That's got to be the single worst offender for blowing up fishing spots. Jerry, you don't need a weed sticker. Jerry,
yeah, I got one.
Smallmouth show. Wrong weed sticker.
Oh.
No, New Hampshire, we still don't have the weed sticker. The only Maine is still the only one that needs it. Like, Mass, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
the only thing New Hampshire.
Yeah,
register. Well, no, if he's visiting, all he needs is his fishing license. The only thing New Hampshire has is the Lake Association people that like check your boat for invasive species. Like before you put in and when you pull out, they walk around it. They check, make sure you're not like dragging any milfoil out or in.
Check. Because I've definitely left lakes after they checked it, and I definitely had like 3 feet of milfoil hanging off my trailer.
Well, they don't care if you take it out because it's supposed to be checking it before it goes in.
No, true. Okay.
It's funny. One of the last point, we're signing off. I asked them one day. I looked at her. I was like, okay, I have no problem in the world with what you do. I think it's great. I don't know how effective it is or nothing. I'm not here to debate that. I am just genuinely curious. If you told me I had invasive species on my boat, can you even stop me from fishing here? And she's like, no. I was like, okay, we're just curious. and like in the back of my head, I'm like, because I'm still going fishing. I don't give a shit. Like, I'll do the best I can to clean it off because I don't want to spread a bunch of milfoil around. But at the same time, goddamn, I'm going fishing. Climb underneath there, pull it off. Yep, she's good. Send her.
Some dude with a clipboard came over, asked where I fished last. Asshole's trying to figure out where I've been fishing. Wants to know my spots. Told him to get fucked.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, how many times we lied to those Lake Association guys? Where'd your last fish? Like knowing where we fished. Yeah.
Newbie.
About. Where can I think of about 100 miles from there?
Yeah, we were out off Jeffrey's Ledge. What the fuck is that? Dude, it's about 180 miles east.
We should start doing that. Every time they ask, where are you fishing last? Jeffrey's Ledge. And one of these days, someone's going to be like, isn't that out in the Atlantic? Yeah. I didn't say how I was fishing. You asked me where I fished last. Wait, Jerry, what did you say? We had one down here that was good for 3 to 5 8-pound fish while we filmed, and Timmy Horton put it on TV.
Ooh, that's
All right, last point. I remember when I was a kid watching Charlie Moore, when that's all I knew. Really, Charlie Moore, Bill Dance, Hank Parker.
Jerry was home.
This was before Jerry was down there. Not Jimmy Houston, and there's another guy I can't think of the top of my head, but like those are the only fishing shows I knew of that I could watch. We didn't really have cable per se for a while there, so there's a narrow window where I could watch all these. And I remember I was like, asking my dad, like, why doesn't Charlie Moore ever say where he's fishing? Like, I want to know where he's fishing because I want to fish those same spots. They look cool. And I understand it now as an adult. As a kid, I didn't understand it. But it's kind of funny that I just happen to remember that, given the context of everything we talked about tonight. About that sticker.
You sent me one.
Out of state. Oh, for NHDES is reminding all persons operating a motorboat on New Hampshire public waters that is registered in another state other than New Hampshire of a new requirement to purchase and display a New Hampshire aquatic invasive species decal. New law went into effect July 1st, 2019. Well, how about that? I apologize, Jerry. I was not aware of that. Two, I was not even aware that New Hampshire started doing that.
Do bring some hydro out, please.
So they're essentially doing the same thing as Maine, which It doesn't say anything about what they do with the money. Oh. Speaking like a true dad and adult here. Ramp. State never tells us what they're doing with the money we give them. So I'm curious what they spend the money on. But yeah, you're right. Not for the ramps, that's for damn sure.
Nope.
What do you mean, Sean? You go up to the Lakes region, it's all concrete. No, you mean like the 3 that are actually public? You go to all these backwoods ones. And it's just like dirt that, if not for the good graces of your local angler fixing it for you every 3 weeks, would be unusable. Yeah, Alec, there's a lot of things New Hampshire doesn't really enforce, so I don't know. Yeah, Josh.
Like anything useful.
Nothing worse than the bent rod pattern. Dude, it's bad. It's getting worse. I think with the influx of COVID-based anglers, they're trying to learn, and I'm not even going to speculate any other aspect of the type of like whatever it is that could drive that. But holy crap, in the last 2 years, it like the number of bent pole anglers, it's insane.
What the hell is that?
How many people pulled up on us after we started catching fish on the spot in the last 2 years compared to prior to that?
Oh, a lot.
Huh?
A lot.
Exactly. Something about in the last 2 years, that like dramatic change. And it's interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I could continue to go on. It's already been an hour and a half. Let's wrap it up. I greatly appreciate everybody that hung around. If you didn't drop a like on the stream yet, please do so. Would really appreciate it. Anybody that watches this after the fact, go ahead and leave a comment as well. Like likes, comments, sharing the videos, all that just helps continue to drive traffic for us as a whole, how we get discovered like in YouTube recommendations for a number of different ways. Aside from that, hope you guys enjoy the kind of new format. I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but to me, it allows more freedom to talk about other things. And I think next week we'll have stuff to waffle off.
Jerry's
got the weed poster. Yep.
Whatever.
Jerry would probably say the same thing about you. That Jerry Garcia? No.
Jerry, we should hang out.
All right, buddy, do your thing, and then let's go play Warzone 2.
Oh, okay. See ya.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We will see you guys next week. Just like every week at Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/603bass. It doesn't work because it's not YouTube and I'm not a Googan. My bad.
Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.